There is a number attached to your name. You did not choose it. You were never told the formula that makes it. It decides whether you get an apartment, whether you get a car, a phone contract, sometimes a job. 3 companies hold it. You are not their customer. You are their product. And the strangest part is what it actually measures. It is not how much money you have. It is not whether you pay your bills. You can do everything right and score badly.
To understand why, you have to go back to a town where everybody knew everybody. 1800s, a general store in a small American town. Almost nothing is bought with cash. You take the flour now, and you pay after the harvest. The shopkeeper writes your name in a book. That book is the entire credit system. And it works because he knows you. He knows your father. He knows his field. He knows whether you are unlucky or unreliable. Credit was not a number. It was a relationship, which means it only works inside walking distance. Then the railways arrive, and people start moving. A stranger walks into the store and asks for credit. The shopkeeper has no book for him. In 1841, a man named Louis Tappan had an idea. He was a merchant in New York who had been burned by unpaid debts. So he built a network of correspondents across the country, local lawyers, postmasters, shopkeepers. Their job was to send in reports on the people around them. Is he honest? Does he drink? Is his wife extravagant? Tappan collected the answers in ledgers in one office. For a fee, any merchant could ask about any man. This is the first credit bureau in the world.
And notice what it is actually made of. It is gossip, written down and sold. The reports were not audited. Nobody checked them. A rival could ruin you with one letter. And the entries recorded things that had nothing to do with money. Race, religion, politics, whether you went to church. That company still exists. It is called Dun & Bradstreet. By the early 1900s, every city had its own credit bureau. They did not track businesses. They tracked ordinary people. A clerk clipped the local newspaper every morning. Arrests, marriages, divorces, deaths, promotions, all of it went into a card with your name on it. Retailers phoned in what you bought and whether you paid. Nobody asked your permission. Nobody told you the file existed. Then, after the war, credit exploded. Suburbs, cars, washing machines, everything on installments, and the card files could not keep up. In the 1960s, the bureaus began putting the cards onto computers, which changed something fundamental. A paper card stays in one city. A computer file goes everywhere. The small local bureaus started buying each other. Hundreds became 3. In the late 60s, a journalist finally asked what was in these files. What came out was worse than expected. Files that recorded sexual habits, political opinions, bankruptcies from 30 years earlier that never expired, errors that no one would correct because you had no right to see the file. Congress responded in 1970 with the Fair Credit Reporting Act. It gave you the right to look at your own file, the right to dispute a mistake, and it put a time limit on old debts, 7 years. It looks like a defeat for the industry. It was the opposite. The law made the file legal. Now it was a regulated national system, not a secret. But one problem remained. The reports were still written by people, and people disagree, and people can be sued for discrimination. The answer arrived from 2 engineers, Bill Fair and Earl Isaac, working in California in 1956. Their argument was simple. Stop asking whether a person is good. Ask what people who behaved like him did next. Take 100,000 old accounts, find what predicts default, turn it into a single number. In 1989, that number became standard across the whole country, the FICO score, 3 digits, 300 to 850. And it did remove the church attendance and the neighbor's opinion. In that narrow sense, it was fairer than what came before. But look at what the number is trained to predict, not whether you are honest, not whether you can afford it. It predicts whether lending to you is profitable. That is why the rules feel upside down. Pay off your card entirely every month and you are a thin file. Close an old account and your history gets shorter. Owe nothing to anyone and the model has nothing to score. The system does not reward being debt-free. It rewards being permanently, safely in debt. And the number did not stay inside the bank. Landlords check it, insurers price with it, utilities, phone contracts, and in some states, employers. A tool for predicting loan losses became a general measure of a person. Then the loop closes. A low score makes credit expensive. Expensive credit is harder to repay. Missed repayments lower the score. We ended up back where we started, a reputation that follows you. Except now nobody in the town knows you, and there is no one to argue with.